Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today we're looking at an actually early release of Fairy Tail 511 Hunger Hell. Now, I know I've got to do Black Clover, I've got to do Red Spirit, I've got to even cover The Promised Neverland. There's so much to cover and I definitely want to do that, but I want to get this out of the way because Lord knows I'm going to be busy on Monday, so this worked in my favour, and I hope 7 Deadly Sins comes out either today or tomorrow. I'll get that done this weekend. An interesting chapter, won't be a 5-point review because it is very centric around a certain kind of plot, but it does answer a lot of questions. So without further ado, let's get into this review. So, what I like about this chapter is it's centric around one kind of character plot. Now, the reason why I like this as opposed to having a few different things going on is the mangaka, in my opinion, tends to do this a lot better. So, for me, in terms of kind of storytelling, what I tend to find when the mangaka Mishima Hiro does his breakdowns in different areas, he tends to give us some information, but not enough to have a value or to really have a value compared to, say, an Oda type of character who can, manga who can really do that. So I think for me, Oda's specialty or Oda really kind of develops some things better in these chapters because he's got more panels to work with. And that's what I enjoyed about this chapter, first of all. So that's the first thing. And the main thing it focuses on is Sting versus Rakhied. What it does in this indirect way is, and it answers a question that I've been wanting to know. The birth of Rakhied, how is it possible? This is done by the discussion about the smell. Talking about the smell of him being exactly like Natsu, and then we get told about the lineage of Natsu, uncle and brother and all this stuff. But we see Sting say no. Even among siblings, even amongst father and son, father and daughter, mother and son, mother and daughter, smell is different slightly. At least this is exactly the same. And then basically Rakhied says something about him being like a creation or son as well. This leads me to believe basically there was a type of kind of a process that Rakhied went through to be born that was basically like Natsu. The only difference is Natsu went through Eternano and demon cells, and basically Rakhied went through something else. This leads me to believe it's more of a DNA based thing, bearing in mind he's had 400 years to perfect it, and basically Rakhied is for all intents and purposes looks fairly young, unless he's had some type of being immortal type of thing. Leads me to believe he's done it recently or reasonably recently. Now, that also leads me to believe that if Zeref dies, also Rakhied will die, or there could be a situation where there's a bonding between Natsu and Rakhied to become like an ultimate being, the dark side being the END, the light side being whatever Rakhied has got. So that's very important. Now, the whole idea of him having the light side, if he has used Mavis' abilities, leads me to believe that the true ability comes from Mavis, such as we've seen in Fairy Lore, Fairy Sphere, Fairy Glitter. These are all things developed by Mavis through Zeref, and that's why she's the light and she's the guiding light of Fairy Tail, the tactician. So that leads me to believe there'll be some type of attack that she'll be able to do. Maybe Laxus gets involved. Hard to kind of really say, but something to bear in mind. Then we got into the fight, and the fight is interesting for a few different reasons. Number one, we still know that Sting can do damage with his light attacks. He can't really get damaged by the attacks that Rakhied does, but he seems to bother Rakhied because he even says, look, he's troublesome. Then we see a technique. It looks like more of a curse, so it's quite similar to how Tartarus worked, the soul of the forbidden meal. It kind of links to the idea of the story, this chapter's title, Hunger Hell, which basically makes you so hungry that you kind of hallucinate and everything is food. Now, I like this idea because it shows you one thing. It shows you, two things. Number one, it shows you that Sting is enough of a problem for him to use other means to defeat him. That's number one. Number two, we also see that Sting can think quickly because he realizes to get out of this he needs to subdue his friends, and he does that so that they don't suffer and go through that pain. I really like that about Sting. So that is a character development for him, and we get to see more of his brain, more of his logical thinking and strategy. So that's important. Now, what basically happens is we get a kind of a situation where the bodies start disappearing and Rogue appears with the help of Minerva. So basically Minerva transported Rogue there and took everybody else. This lended an opportunity for a few different things. I thought it was going to be a Twin Dragon thing, but it's more about Sting. I like that because Sting needs time to shine as well. We thought he was going to get that in the Grand Magic Games, but no, you know how that ended, so we'll not go there. What this does do though, is this does set up the version of Sting closely tying into the version in the future, except less crazy. We get to see that he respects and he's honored by what Natsu did for him in his way, and he has like a debt to pay. And basically, Rogue gives his power, what he has left, to Sting. There's two things to take from this. One, he gets superpowered, and he uses the phrase "I'm fired up." You know he's a Natsu fanboy. Let's just be honest. He is a Natsu fanboy. There's no shame in that. Although plenty of memes are going to be out there, plenty of fan fiction is going to be out there that says something weirder, but we'll not get into that. What that means also is there's going to be a more powerful form of this light shadow dragon or white shadow dragon later on down the line when they're both fully powered and Rogue basically gives him his full power. So that's something to bear in mind. And then it ends with that ready to clash scene, and it was a nice little ending. We got to see a brilliant drawing design by Hiro. His drawings are always on point, and then Rogue passes out. But then before the ending, we see something called, or we hear something from Rakhied saying, let's see if you can get past this spell, R.I.P. Rest in peace? Rest in pieces? Is he the Undertaker now? But it could be a type of death magic or something like that, or him seeing death, or Shinigami type of thing. It's interesting to see what happens with this. But I hope Sting doesn't get like one-shotted or something like that. I really want him to, if he can't defeat Rakhied, is wear him down enough that somebody else can. And if he is immortal, damage him so he's not a major threat in the fight for the time being. That's literally all I need from this. If he can manage to beat him, that is brilliant, because that shows a lot for Sting. But is this Sting as strong as the previous Sting? I need him to be stronger because Natsu beat him before, and that would be a bit of a plot hole. But anyway, that is my review, an early release of Fairy Tail, an early review of Fairy Tail. Hope you enjoy. Let me know in the comment section below, all on Reddit, whenever you get to see this, and I'll see you next time. Peace.